Welcome to the Del Mar Racetrack, home to the San Diego County Fair and site of the 2014 Mystic TerraCross GBC Tire Southern California Shootout. Hello and welcome. I'm Cameron Steele alongside Paul Thacker, and this is race 2 of the Mystic TerraCross Championship. And what a race it was in the season opener, Paul.
Yeah, Cam, we introduced TerraCross racing to Southern California fans with a bang. This course is one of the best we have seen on the series. And the talent of drivers we've got is so deep. New guys coming in a race like 7-time Supercross champion Jeremy McGrath, just one name to drop. But in the opener, last year's champ RJ Anderson had some bad luck. Opening lap, didn't finish, had to pull off the racetrack. And taking advantage of that tangle up was rookie driver Mitchie Guthrie, took over the lead and went on for the win.
A fine job it was for sure for the youngster, and if you look at the season points with us, Guthrie is right on top over Mickey Thomas, and of course if you look further down you'll see last year's champion RJ Anderson has some work to do, and in 6th place Chris Barant, the sled racer, turned TerraCross driver, and earlier Paul you got to get with your monster teammate and go through a couple sections of this race course. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
All right, so I am down here on this spectacular TerraCross course in San Diego. My pilot, I am the co-pilot to Chris Barant's X Games gold medalist. Chris, this track has some amazing, unique characteristics. Take me through some of them.
Yeah, Paul, we're rolling through one of the most critical situations on the track. This is the huge double-double, and what's different about the track here and these jumps is that these are gap jumps, not tabletop jumps. So if you come up short on any one of these double-doubles, it's game over.
Next, we come into this section where you have to make a choice. 2 different separate lanes. Take me through it.
Yeah, Paul, the inside line here is the longer way around, and the outside line, the one to my right, this is where the gnarliness happens with these huge big tires. It's the shorter route, and it's got more traction because it's got more dirt than the slippery concrete, but if you don't dial in those tires, guys, we're getting hung up and all carnage.
All right, Chris, you talked about traction. This next section, again, set up for 2 lane choices. It's slippery. Talk me through it.
You know, this section is the equalizer for me. In qualifying, I had a really hard time with it. It's so slippery and you're carrying so much speed down here. The inside line is a 90-degree turn. The outside line has got a little bit of traction at the end, but man, I love the 2-lane choice, and it really makes for some good racing.
Awesome, Chris. Well, good luck in the final. Tear it up, buddy.
Thanks, Paul.
I gotta say, Thacker, you look a little scared when Barant threw it into that cement corner. And hey, before we go racing the LCQs, our 3rd member of our broadcast team, Lorette Nicola, is caught up with the winner from round number 1, who's got some work to do in the LCQ.
Mitch Guthrie is our points leader, and Mitch, you got the target on your back. What did you learn from your first race that you're going to apply here today?
I definitely learned a lot. It's a rough course, a lot of rough driving, so you kind of just got to be able to make it through it. So I'm definitely going to be going for it today.
All right, best of luck.
Thank you.
Trying to hang on to that points lead, and he's got some work to do on the pole. Inside front row, Colton Moore. And next to him, of course, Doug Gus, a legend.
ATV legend. This guy's tough as nails.
On the outside of row number 1, Tim Wyatt, as we'll have 8 laps of racing. 2 will transfer on to the main event. There are already 12 drivers in the main event. We'll take 2 from each of these 2 LCQs, and we are racing. A great job on the jump by Moore.
Boy, that first corner is so important, and Colton just absolutely nailed it and has the lead because of it.
This is a tough track to pass on, Paul. We saw it in round number 1. Round number 2, a little different. Everybody switched on, and Guthrie, remember, you got to get one of those 2 transfer spots. He's your points leader, and he just put it up on 2 wheels and had to correct.
Big mistake, man. He's got some work to do if he's going to transfer. Whoa! And there it is, that inside line. You know, if you don't nail those tires, you get hung up just like that. That's definitely not what you want to happen there.
The Rockstar Energy Drink 31C in the lead right now.
Colton's pretty good on a snowmobile too, I've heard. I think he's got a couple of X Games medals maybe.
For sure. I mean, I remember when I first met he and his brother, they were so new to the X Games, so much energy. Sadly, his brother has passed on from a snowmobile accident, and I know they're all racing in his memory, his family is.
Absolutely, all of us, we all rock the Ride for Caleb stickers for sure. He's never forgotten.
Just great kids. It's so much fun to talk to. And Colton has gone on to be very successful. And right now he's leading this LCQ. He's got to choose
Such
lane.
a great onboard shot right there coming around that corner. You don't have any time. There's just no room for mistakes. You have to be on point all the time on this track.
And you can see him pushing through that corner. You don't want to get too excited. A better setup for our driver in the second position, but he drifts out and hits the berm. So two different ways to look at it, but both have an issue there. And of course, second place, Tim Wyatt will return to the racing here in San Diego. We'll find out who will make the main event. Can Colton Moore get it done?
Mystic Lubricants TerraCross Championship is being brought to you by Mystic Lubricants, specially formulated for lubrication domination. Visit mysticlubes.com. And by the Polaris RZR XP 1000.
We're back in San Diego, and while we were away, we had a change for that transfer position. When we left, it was Wyatt in second. Now it is Gus. And Gus is putting some pressure here on Colton Moore.
Yeah, Colton Moore's,
making a mistake.
Big mistake on that Pro Armor RZR. That's definitely, but it worked out for him because he actually blocked Doug Gust.
Yeah, sometimes you got to be careful not to follow or to give yourself a way through if the driver in front of you makes a mistake. In that situation, there didn't look like there was really another way to do it for Gus, but he is in that transfer position. That's what's so important. 8 laps of racing. We're getting ready to get the white flag here. And Moore and Gus are the two drivers looking for holding on to those transfer spots, I should say. And here's the white flag.
Yeah, and you know, these guys, you know, they want to be as fast as they can be, but at the same time, you have to take care of your equipment because this is just the LCQ. There's still 16 laps of a final to go, so, you know, they're pushing it, but I imagine they're still keeping something in the tank for the final.
Definitely got to take care of your equipment. And Moore throwing it in.
It's so slick. I mean, you can see the concrete showing through, and you lose traction and then get it right back. That could be a recipe for disaster.
Dana Creech, of course, the course designer. And more chaos. That corner, we're going to see a lot from that as this round 2 race continues. 2 LCQs, then the main event, 16 laps, 16 drivers. And you can imagine it looks pretty full here with a lesser number of vehicles. When we get all the Polaris RZRs out there, it's going to be chaos.
It totally is. And you know, Doug Gust, first round, didn't finish in the final, so I mean, that's got to be in the back of his head. Keep your machine together. You got a lot of laps to go.
Checker flag for Moore. He's going to transfer on, as will Gust. A solid race there at the end. It tightened up a bit, and this track lends itself for racing that tightens up because it's so easy to make mistakes. As we take a flashback here at the start, we'll go through the race, some of the highlights. Really a nice controlled start for Moore where he held on to that front position. And
Guthrie.
This is where it went wrong for Guthrie.
Just a little hot. Our race 1 champ just could not quite keep it on 4 wheels.
Here's a look from onboard.
Just
Colton and
came
Doug.
all the way. Hey Doug, how's it going, buddy?
And I'm sure both drivers very excited to make it on to the main event. I know I would be. Take a look here. Sadly, Mitch Guthrie Jr., your points leader, he is out. We saw struggles for last year's champion in the previous round of racing. It can happen to anybody, anytime. But that time around, Moore and Gust are safe. They are in the main event. 2 more spots available as we take a look at our lineup here. This is D. Dipple all the way to the inside. He will control the inside line when the green flag flies. Next to him, Hans Atta.
Hans giving us the thumbs up. He's looking pretty excited to get out there and do a little LCQ racing.
For sure, they're all ready to fight for 2 spots. And Daryl Routh from Routh Racing, he knows a thing or two about TerraCross racing.
TerraCross racing it's interesting because the race ain't over until it's over, because there's so many elements. And you know, generally you've watched a race, as the guy gets out front, he's going to win the race, but there's no guarantees here. But you have to keep the car alive for one thing. You have to stay out of trouble, and that's what makes it interesting. Another unique element to this TerraCross racing is we are all racing a spec car. It's neat to be part of that, and it's really, at the end of the day, it's better for us, I think, because everybody's got the same equipment. So now it comes down to drivers and a little bit of luck sometimes.
Yeah, Daryl said it. You know, these machines are spec. They're all exactly the same, so it's all on the racer. And you know, this track is just so difficult, but the start is just so important.
D. Dipple on the inside doesn't get a great jump, but you know what? He doesn't need it. He controls that inside, and he will make the move into turn 2. Everybody's going to follow. One driver going around the outside is going to be the number 67, right? Yeah.
That guy, you know, he's got a lot of time with, you know, these ATVs and side-by-sides. He's definitely a veteran of this type of racing.
Getting started on the first lap of 8. 2 will qualify. They will go to the main event where 14 drivers are already waiting for them. See a couple different lines being used here. We'll see how it plays out as we move forward. And oh, a little line chopping there.
Not sure if that was on purpose or not.
Hey, you got to cut the grass once in a while.
Exactly.
And why not do it on one of your competitors? Look at the setup.
Sliding in. Looks like BC's trying to take that inside line, and he does and takes the lead.
The 31B goes to the front. That's BC Vaught. Oh, whoa.
Oh, that's
lots of great action. They're not going to give up here. I mean, Hans Otte does not want to give up that front spot. Battles back for it. And now they are going side by side through this infield section on the outside of the arena, which is a really tough place to race.
This track is so tight. There's a handful of places you can take lines away and make some passes, but these two guys they're on it.
Different line choices. Inside for Otte, outside for Vaught, and it looks like Otte with the advantage. A lot of speed being carried into this corner, though. Whoa. You gotta be careful.
Little wall ride there. BC pulls him up. You know, Otte's fast on that far side of the track, but BC definitely
opens
gets
the
inside.
door.
Oh!
Vaught with
Again.
authority comes around the inside, tucks that inside line, and gives a little, hey, how you doing there?
Little rubbing.
Well, if you're not banging a little bit, you're not really racing in a stadium, right?
Exactly.
You're not going to say that you never did knee smash it before, I'm sure. And Vaught and Otte in control of the transfer spots right now. Welcome back to San Diego and the Mystic Lubricants TerraCross Championships GBC Tire Shootout here at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. Our leaders, Vaught and Otte. We are on the last lap, and they're still battling for that first spot, but it doesn't really matter because they're both transferring on to the main event and a back row start position.
Yeah, it looks like Otte might have checked up a little bit, knew he was going to the final. No need to, you know, beat up your equipment and risk, you know, taking one another out and not even making the final.
Yeah, and it's so tough. And you look right now, Rath is sitting in third place, the Mystic Lubricants driver. He's on the outside looking in, which means he's not going to make the main event. This is a tough field.
It is. There's so much talent this year. I mean, third place in an LCQ is not a place we're used to seeing Daryl Rath, so he's definitely disappointed.
Getting a good look right now at BC Vaught, the number 31B. And the checker flag is out. That is going to be the first transfer position, and the last transfer position, I should say, is going to go to Otte as he gets the checkered flag as well. So the 16 driver main event field is set. Vaught and Otte move on. As we said, Rath will not make it along with the rest of the drivers there. Rasmussen, Dipple, Kirkpatrick, and McFarland. They will all be watching from the stands. Tough place to be for the main event. It's time now for the Polaris Power Performer, and I'd say he powered his way through there.
Yeah, Otte gave him BC just a little window, and he took full advantage. And you know, you can't be leaving those insides open like that. That's for sure.
The slip and slide corner so tough, and BC Vaught making it work for him, taking home that first place spot. Hopefully, he can get to the front in the main event. Speaking of the main event, check it out. We have a star-studded lineup on the front row. Will be R.J. Anderson, Mickey Thomas, and Chad Ragland. Let's not forget some big hitters like the Moores and Jeremy McGrath will be in the field as well. Let's talk about the ladies, because last time we were out, well, they did not disappoint. They wanted to race, they wanted to slug it out, and it was Cindy Hart who came out on top.
You know, these ladies they get after it. They're super fast, don't hold back. I mean, they're impressive. You can see, look at the banging and the racing going on here.
And
right to the finish.
This was the last two corners, basically side by side over the finish line, but it was Cindy Hart over Sarah Price. And here they are getting set to take the green for the women's main event. On the inside will be the 55 of Cindy Hart with Doug Gus.
Looks like Doug was holding on a little tight there.
On the outside, Jamie Ward, and coming from the back row will be Sarah Price, who nearly stole the race right at the end, 1 round to go.
Again, that start is so important. Cindy going inside, controlling the whole shot. Look at this, Sarah Price is already on the move.
trying to wedge through there now. Something you've noticed in the LCQ races, and we'll see through the main event, is there are passing lanes and there are different ways to go around, but there is a preferred line, and sometimes you will see people following. Sarah Price, though, looking like she's thinking about going side by side off that big jump. And she's trying to make the pass. She's trying to make the move here to the inside. Oh, she almost goes from the outside inside.
Yeah. It's so slick in those corners. I mean, the level of talent that these ladies show is it's just so impressive.
55, Cindy Hart, winner of round number 1. The 525, Jamie Ward, sitting in 2nd place. She was 3rd in round number 1, and then Sarah Price in 3rd place. She finished in 2nd.
Cindy just making that corner look like just a piece of cake.
Very deliberate, not wanting to take chances. Look at that, Sarah Price.
Wow, that was some aggressive driving right there. She just did not lift at all coming up that out, from the inside of the stadium to outside.
A little bit of nose down landing there for the 55. It looked like Doug Gus was hanging on. I saw him grab on, and navigators helping out, doing some coaching along the way.
You know, it's, oh no!
And that is
Jamie Ward upside down.
So right now, battle for the front. Look at this. Oh, contact as they were landing.
Smokes.
Sarah Price going to make her way back through. They're working on riding Jamie Ward.
We have not seen much of that in the men's racing. The ladies going side by side off both those gap jumps. That is racing.
And we'll see if Price finds a place to try to get by Cindy Hart. And they've got Jamie Ward right side up. Let's take another look before we go to break. This is what happened to Jamie Ward. We'll see more action like this, I'm sure, as we continue on in San Diego. We're back, and the white flag is out for the ladies. It's Sarah Price chopping, coming up short on that gap jump coming into the stadium.
Yikes, had to check up. Looks like we got a yellow flag.
Yep, Jamie Ward is having problems. She stopped, but this is the last lap of racing. Cindy Hart trying to go back-to-back, 2 in a row. And we'll see if she can get it done here in the last lap, being very methodical. Sarah Price we've seen take a lot more chances, but sometimes that risk has been a little sketchy.
I tell you, Cindy has led all 5 laps of this race, and it looks like to me she's going to finish it off.
Price trying to come down the inside. We've got a couple laps of action where we've seen those pass sections of those areas.
This is a repeat of round 1 to a T. Look at that.
On the outside, trying to get there right at the end.
Oh, and she's gonna get it.
The block pass, and she gets high centered. Unbelievable.
Oh, that is, what a bummer.
Checker flag for Cindy Hart once again. And it was a little bit of the tortoise and the hare.
Wow.
You know, I think that Cindy Hart was more methodical. And I don't think you want to call her the tortoise, but more methodical. Sarah Price, more impetuous, going for it, trying to throw down. doesn't pay off for her. She checks that landing once again, but she is officially second now. Here's another look at it. Price going around the outside. What happened?
So hard on the outside, trying to come back underneath, and actually does get in front of Cindy, but doesn't quite carry enough speed in this corner and gets high centered right here. Oh, how heartbreaking is that? She comes through that corner clean. She's got the checkered flag. Bummer.
Bummer for Sarah Price, but good news for Cindy Hart and Doug Gus as they go back-to-back here in San Diego.
She's all smiles, Sarah Price. That looked like she's having a good time.
The fans are definitely having a good time, and we are set as we get ready for the Polaris RZR 1000 main event, and these drivers know it's a deep field for sure.
There's a lot of competition out here. You're going to have some good luck on your side and be smart. That's what it's going to take to come out front.
We're going to have 16 cars out there at the same time, which is another exciting thing. I mean, we're going to smash into each other. That's how it goes. So for the fans, they're going to get to see something that's really fun, of course. And for me, I'm going to have a blast.
Racing is pure adrenaline, is how I always say it. You know, you're trying the whole time to just beat everyone else, you know? It's pure adrenaline, and so when you're in second, you're trying to make every move you can to pass first. And when you're in first, you're like, I can't mess up, I can't mess up. So it's just, basically, I don't even think you breathe the whole time you're out there. So I'm not really a get nervous type of guy, but the adrenaline gets a hold of everyone.
Well, if you like rides or you like some carny food or, well, if you like TerraCross, San Diego is a great place to be during the San Diego Fair. As we take a look, we are ready for the main event here at the Mystic Lubricants TerraCross Championships. This is round number 2. Last year's champion, RJ Anderson, will control the pole on the inside, but he's got a whole host of big hitters trying to get by him.
You know, Mickey Thomas showed really well in round number 1, getting a second place, and then obviously this guy.
Chad Ragland, yes, bringing the heat, coming from the outside. You go to the inside of row number 2, that is Luke Paul. Outside of him will be the course designer, and in the main event for the first time this year, missing in round number 1, Dana Creech.
And we've got another young buck, Cole Coutu, who actually qualified through the Pro-Am Series last year, and now he's racing with the big boys, and he's looking really, really fast. 6
other drivers will face them from the back rows. Jeremy McGrath and Chris Brandt included in that group. So a number of drivers here looking for the win. In fact, everybody's looking for the win, but there's a lot of talent that is qualified to win, I should say. And we're ready to go green flag racing. RJ Anderson has won so many races in so many forms of motorsport already at a young age, at 21 years of age. And he is controlling it in the number 37 Walker Evans Monster Energy sponsored rig.
I tell you what, when RJ Anderson gets a good hole shot, he is really a tough guy to track down, and then even tougher to pass.
He is very smart when it comes to driving. He has a great team around him. We talked about him. Wow, and almost too slow over that inside section there.
That's the risk you run on that line. If you don't hit it just right, you're getting hung up and guys are passing you.
I was saying that RJ Anderson has great support. Of course, his dad, Randy, involved. His mom is always at the races, and really just great support staff. As we take a look at the setup there for Anderson.
Well, I tell you, they've got 2 separate lanes there, and the guys seem to really like that inside.
He's running away with it here on the first lap, but I'm sure there will be plenty of chances for others to catch up. Your leader, of course, RJ Anderson, we talked about a number of times already. Let's take a look deeper in the field. Behind Anderson, we'll try to get the running order for you here. Of course, watch the top of your screen.
That's done on 24. Luke Paul is in second. No, I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's Mickey Thomas.
Mickey Thomas.
Hard to keep track at times. Luke Paul is in 3rd position, as you said. So those are your podium positions.
And that, what a drift. Look at the guys going side by side over the tires. All kinds of just great racing in the back of the pack there.
Well, it's not an easy place to race in the back of the pack because of the amount of chaos. And someone who is back there is Chris Brandt, who we met earlier in the show, showing us some of the track, and we can check in with him actually while he's racing.
In the concrete, guys, it's so slippery. It's hard to figure out where people are going. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I've been there. I've done some driving commentary in my day, and it's not easy to do, but surprisingly, it's not super tough either. As we go on board with 7-time Supercross champion Jeremy McGrath, driving this Polaris Razor here. He also drives a Pro 2, Alford Loctite, who is his primary sponsor. And I think Jeremy, by looking at his interviews, he's having a lot of fun being here.
Yeah, it was incredible to catch up with Jeremy at TerraCross this weekend. And, he all smiles all the time. You're not going to meet a nicer guy.
And I think you really nailed it there with your comment. Not meet a nicer guy. I've never met a more humble man who has done so much. I mean, when you talk about 7 Supercross championships and 72 Supercross wins, I mean, he could act any way he wants,
right.
But he is kind. He is generous, and he is willing to stop and talk to just about anybody that comes along and wants to talk to the great Jeremy McGrath.
Absolutely.
Huge asset to have here, and a huge name, of course, to be part of this TerraCross series. R.J. Anderson and the Walker Evans sponsor number 37 continues to lead. Mickey Thomas just about 2 seconds behind, and then Chad Ragland in 3rd place. So we're seeing some battles develop here in more of the middle front of the pack. As we look at Chad Ragland, he may be giving up that 3rd position there.
That inside line, when the guys nail it, we've talked about it before, it really is fast, but there's a lot of risk involved with that.
There definitely is plenty of risk as we look at R.J. Anderson. Now, he's trying to get by lap traffic. That's the number 4 of Andy Ives. With 16 laps of racing and 16 vehicles out on the track, there's going to be a number of people, and Ives not giving way. And, you know, sometimes it's just hard. You know, people are focused. You're trying to get by the lap traffic. They're not paying attention.
Sure.
And he hasn't seen a lapper flag or anything like that. So RJ has to find a way around, goes to the outside, so to speak, on this section, and he's going to try to make the pass stick, and he comes in hot.
Comes in way hot. Yeah, it's, you know, everybody on the track's racing regardless of what position you're in. So a lot of times when lappers get caught, they just don't really have any idea what's going on behind them.
Right now, we're showing McGrath has been making some moves towards the front. We'll see if he can get into podium position and stay there.
That's a pretty solid run we're seeing from McGrath, from going from, you know, the 3rd row all the way up to 3rd place. That's solid.
A good look at Thomas here. Again, 2nd in round number 1, so 2 seconds would put him in the front of the points battle, which I'm sure he's very aware of. Last race, first race of the season, I should say. Winner Guthrie not able to make the main event, which is a huge shocker when it comes to your point situation. And McGrath had a tough first round as well.
Right, you can definitely see he is making some time on Thomas. Each time they come around, he's getting a little bit closer, just reeling him in.
If I had to guess, I'd say that Thomas is closing in a little bit on Anderson, but Anderson might be taking it a little bit easy, but we're only lap 6 of 16, so there's a lot of racing still to go. It looks like
those tires.
Doug Gust having a problem there, getting hung up on the tires, but getting it moving again.
You know, it's such a fine line between, you know, going hard. Wow, look at McGrath is really, really putting the heat on Thomas.
And by watching, I think Jeremy has just been really keeping it smooth. He's not being overly aggressive, and I think he's just hitting his marks every time, and I think he's counting on Thomas to make little itty-bitty mistakes here, a little mistake there, and the Loctite number 2 is just going to continue to try to reel in that 2nd position.
Yeah, McGrath has got a good, solid run here, hitting his marks. I mean, I'm not seeing any mistakes from the guy. Granted, he's pretty experienced, so you don't expect that many mistakes from Jeremy
You
McGrath.
just said Jeremy McGrath is pretty experienced. Actually, on a television broadcast not long ago, I call him a rookie for not checking his window net. I had to hear about that later, actually. But, you know, it's all good fun, and McGrath is willing to have fun with it as well. And, you know, I don't think anybody's got, you know, last year, R.J. Anderson was almost able to run the table. If it wasn't for a little bit of bad luck, he could have won every single round.
Sure.
And, you know, he had bad luck in round number 1. Now, less pressure maybe because he's not trying to win all the races, but he needs to get up to the front and win one.
Yeah, he's definitely, if he's going to want to win 2 championships in a row, he's got a little 2-wheel action there.
He's familiar with that.
That's right.
And we got a red flag situation. And the bad news is that everybody is stopped on the course. The good news for us is there's going to be a restart, and nobody is hurt. It looked like Brandt maybe had a problem, and that caused a backup on the big jumps in the middle, so they had to throw the red flag. When we come back, more fun at this party we call TerraCross. R.J. Anderson is your leader. We'll find out if he can get it done when we return. San Diego is the site of the Mystic Lubricants TerraCross Championships and GBC Tire Shootout. When we were leaving for break, we had a red flag, which means a restart, and it looked like it started with Chris Brandt having a problem and a couple drivers not able to get over those big doubles in the center where there's no way to drive through
Only
it.
one way to go around those, and that's over.
Right now, your leader is R.J. Anderson in the Walker Evans sponsor number 37. In second place is the 44, and we have some tightened up racing. It was kind of spread out there a bit, but now we have Thomas and McGrath right there with R.J. Anderson. We'll see if one of them can take a chance and try to get by the driver that has been so fast here today.
Yeah, one thing you can count on in this TerraCross racing is that there's going to be some sort of red flag, and it does.
McGrath!
Oh, McGrath to the inside, takes the line, and then gets pushed outside.
We'll see if he can make it stick here. He's gonna drive deep, but no.
Checked up.
Thomas goes to the inside. McGrath decides to play it safe. He's gonna sit in third. Now this is that corner that's caused so much trouble. Nice rotation by Thomas in the 44. McGrath being a little bit more careful. He's gonna go down that same line. He's gonna follow to the outside. Another gap jump here.
Look at the visibility when you come in from the stadium to outside, how hard it is to see.
Anderson, Thomas, and McGrath, and let's give a shout out as we move back to that 4th position. That's the 525 of Jason Luberg, and right behind him is Dana Creech, the course designer, who I know would like to have a big finish here today.
Yeah, Dana doing double duty. He did such a great job on this course, and now I know he wants to get the first race.
Wow, tight racing, packed. Oh, wow.
Wow, that. Oh, no.
No, back over.
That's Colton Moore.
Oh, I'm pretty sure we just saw a backflip in there. Red flag. Oh, that was awesome.
So the red flag is going to come out as you hear it. Wow, and drivers stopping and then others piling up. Now remember, they don't have spotters, they don't have radio comms, so if someone sees the red flag and checks up, others may not, and this is what happened. Just not enough speed going into those tires, and it's a tough situation.
That's crazy. Whoa! He is familiar to being upside down, so I don't think he was terribly uncomfortable.
Gets out and claims it. When we come back, we'll take that red flag and get restarted once again.
Mystic Lubricants TerraCross Championship is being brought to you by Mystic Lubricants, specially formulated for lubrication domination. Visit mysticlubes.com. And by the Polaris Razor XP 1000.
What a beautiful setting and a beautiful weekend here in San Diego. Round 1 went off really well. Now round 2 is about to be put in the books as we have a red flag restart once again and we have bunched them all up, and they are tight. We'll see if someone can try to make a run at R.J. Anderson, who continues to lead, but Paul, I haven't seen him make a mistake at all.
You know, those red flag restarts have to make RJ a little tiny bit nervous because he pulls these leads and then gets stuck right back in the pack. You know, but it doesn't seem to be bugging him too much.
Here comes McGrath once again. He likes that inside line.
Inside, he's going to make it stick this time. Oh, and they're charging. Still can't make it happen.
Mickey Thomas goes down to the bottom, the inside of that corner, takes the spot back, asserts himself.
Wow.
He's pushing around Jeremy McGrath.
It's a story you can tell his grandkids.
Bunching up a little bit, McGrath electing not to slide into that turn, and he's got a challenge now.
That's the 525 of Jason Luberg, giving McGrath everything he can handle for that last podium spot.
Right now it's still McGrath in the Loctite sponsored number 2. He's going to protect that inside, but Luberg trying to find a way around. We are on lap 9, getting ready to click off another. We're into lap 10 now, and 6 laps of racing to go.
You just watch these Polaris Razor 1000s get around this track and over these obstacles, and it really is just amazing how well they work. It just blows my mind every time I watch.
Luberg trying to do that same move McGrath has been using, going to the inside of the tires there. I'm surprised to see McGrath leave that open for him, so to speak. But, you know, the other thing is we're not down there, and we don't see how steep it is on a couple of the sections going into the tires. Some of that dirt could be carved out
for sure
at the bottom from them trying to get over that obstacle.
Well, I tell you, R.J. Anderson is just absolutely flawless racing right now. He looks so good.
On rails. Mickey Thomas also looking solid, the number 44 Fox-sponsored MTS vehicle.
He's running, I mean, that's back-to-back podiums for, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
No, definitely not. Anytime you can walk away with a podium in any type of field.
Well, those tires it's such a big risk. If you don't make it over them just perfectly, you're either upside down or you're stuck on top of them, which we've seen both today.
For sure. Jeremy McGrath still trying to find a way to get into that second position. R.J. Anderson pushing there a little bit, not getting the rotation he was looking for.
You know, he's leading this race, didn't have a good first round finish, so he might be, you know, laying up just a little bit, making sure that he saves that machine for all 16 laps.
That's a good idea because he had the problem in round number 1.
Yeah, him and Gust came. They were. It was 2 bulls in an arena coming down the back straight.
For sure. Right now, you know, watching McGrath and Anderson both being, you know, pretty methodical. No one, you know, including Thomas. Everybody seems to be like in their own zone a little. And Thomas.
Oh no! Thomas hung up on the tires.
McGrath gonna make the pass. Yeah, he's gonna lose a bunch of spots here.
Man, that is, like we talked about earlier, that is the risk you run with that inside line. It's fast when you make it, but it's really risky.
And now McGrath in second place. Didn't have a great start position, and he sets up tentative again in that corner, but smart through it. Doesn't give up any space, but he's got a couple of hungry racers right behind him. It's amazing how plush the landings look when they really nail the downside. It looks so poetic. And that 525, guess what? There's not a lot of patience there.
No, he's right there. Jason Luberg is pushing for sure. Yeah, I wonder, you know, McGrath had an issue in the first round as well. Some of these guys, they're not pushing as hard as we've seen him in some of the previous qualifying.
On board with Showtime. Takes a look over his shoulder and...
Oh, no!
Oh, whoa. Problem for McGrath. McGrath pulls off in a shocker with just 4 laps to go.
Oh, what a bummer.
That's going to give that second position up to Luberg. And McGrath trying to figure out what the problem might be. And again, they're putting these vehicles through so much punishment.
Right, I mean, yeah, they're as absolutely tough as they come, but you know, when you start ramming into each other and, you know, hitting these huge jumps, it's a stress on any kind of vehicle for sure.
A new battle for third has developed. I'm sorry, I should say second has developed as the number 24, Luke Paul, sitting in third place. He's now thinking, I might be able to get a piece of the second place action, but
no,
now,
not a.
it just squeaks through.
As we watch Mickey Thomas still sitting stuck high centered on the tires. That's not the spot you want to be watching the race from.
This guy, he's just putting on a clinic. He really is an amazing kid. Just such a genuine, nice guy. Really, when you talk to him, he makes eye contact. He's thoughtful about his answers. And he takes the same kind of methodical approach to his racing. And another good guy who's out of the race, Lorette, has caught up with.
Spoke to Jeremy McGrath, and he had a mechanical problem with his machine. He said that he was glad it happened where it happened and not the over-under jump. Guys, this is tough. This is a lot of racing. It's a long day on both man and machine.
And RJ Anderson is just about to get done with that, as the next time around he will see the white flag on this 16-lap man, and he just drifts
That
it.
was so dialed.
Wow, for a second there I thought, oh, maybe a little too much. Look at this guy.
Man, he's got this track figured out here on lap 15, there's no doubt.
For sure, and if you haven't caught his precision driving, go to UTV Underground and check out the XP1K video. The guys at Mad Media, along with RJ Anderson, just did an amazing precision driving video, and you know, RJ just really rises to the occasion in that.
Yeah, it's really impressive piece of work. The things that he does with a Polaris RZR are pretty mind-blowing.
Shocking, totally shocking. As the checker flag comes out, round number 2 after a shocking round number 1, though, will go to RJ Anderson. Look at the drift and slide. Walker Evans Racing, Monster Energy sponsored. RJ Anderson gets back to where it's familiar for him, on top of the box. And he will salute the crowd with the checker flag. Saw a lot of chaos, a lot of different kinds of racing, and RJ is going to do some donuts, and hopefully he doesn't catch an edge there. Almost did right out of the gate, and there's some of that precision driving we talked about.
Yeah, it couldn't. I mean, he's just so good and so fun to watch race. He's just a solid dude.
For sure. To the victor of the spoils, and this is how it got started. RJ was on the inside on the front row. He controlled that start and just never looked back. We saw some chaos, of course, at the time. Yeah, running in second place. McGrath gets by Mickey Thomas here, who got high centered and stuck. And it was RJ Anderson at the end of the day. He will reign supreme as we take a look at our final finishing order. And you'll notice no McGrath, no Chad Ragland, Mickey Thomas, who had such a great day going. They are not in the top 3. It's Anderson, Luberg, and Paul. And now let's get it down to the Walker Evans driver.
RJ Anderson just put on a clinic on how to win. RJ, was that to make up for a disappointing first race?
Yeah, I mean, got to start in the front row of round 1 and got some carnage, and that's what TerraCross is, you know? So only thing I could do is rebound and come and have a strong showing in round 2, and that's what we did. But man, I tell you, they just kept having cautions, and when you're in the front, a caution is the last thing you want to see because it makes the guys right behind you bunch right up on you, and I knew they were there, and so I knew I couldn't make any mistakes right after the yellows. So I was glad we were to keep it together. My Polaris RZR was running strong, and pumped to come back, get another win on under my belt, and just keep the momentum going, hopefully, for rounds 3 and 4 in heydays.
Great job, RJ.
Thank you very much.
Solid performance from a great driver and a great person. RJ Anderson really putting an exclamation point on round number 2. Your Mystic Lubrication Domination performance, of course, it's going to go to the number 37 Walker Evans sponsored driver. RJ Anderson not only had a great start, but he fought through 2 restarts and really had a spot-on performance to take home that top spot on the box. Taking a look at our overall standing, it's going to be a tough road to hoe for RJ, but looking at all these big names here, you can't count anyone out, including Mr. Anderson. For Lorette Nickel, Paul Thacker, and our entire crew, I'm Cameron Steele saying see you later from San Diego. In association with Echo Entertainment, this has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.